Welcome back. The Defense Department will develop its artificial intelligence technology through a framework it lays out in its responsible AI strategy. The department says it expects AI will change the way it fights wars. At Soft Week 2023, I asked co-founder and CEO of Horizon3.ai, Snehal Antani, what kinds of questions the national defense community is asking about AI.
I think there are kind of two aspects or two themes of AI questions. The first is, how do we leverage AI to improve understanding and accelerate decision-making, which is very much what we had pioneered within the special operations community over the last few years, and we're first movers in many ways for the rest of the department. The second side, though, is how does AI drive mission capability? And the biggest area I see is the use of AI for offensive cyber operations. We at Horizon3, we pioneered the use of AI to execute penetration tests. So basically pen testing to identify your security weaknesses. But the adversary is, and we're the first to ever do it, but we should anticipate the adversary's use of AI to accelerate their offensive cyber, where AI algorithms can make 100,000 decisions a minute, whereas a human can only make a few. And so you're going to see this use of offensive cyber operations operating at machine speed with humans by exception. I think that's where the real both threat and opportunity is going to come from an AI standpoint.
Regarding the opportunity, is there an opportunity, anticipating what you just described, to get ahead of the curve finally as a result of automation and the tools that AI provides?
Absolutely, but if you look at, take the SOF conference this week, everything that you see in these booths are mostly software-defined, whether it's software-defined munitions or radios or whatever. So what I see everywhere is cool innovation with a massive attack surface. And so I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I think we're going to see two things happen. The first is we'll have limited cyber resilience on the battlefield. So as these pieces of equipment come into first contact with the enemy, the use of cyber to take out munitions or take out a vehicle has never really been done before at scale. I think we're going to see that happen. The next part too, though, is anyone that applied just-in-time logistics or lean manufacturing, which is the best practice globally now, has very little cyber resilience of their supply chain. And so the story there is recently the Japanese armed the Ukrainians. The Russians allegedly executed a ransomware attack against a small company in Tokyo. That company in Tokyo provided all of the cup holders to Toyota Motor Company. Toyota shut down 28 production lines, and it cost them $400 million in revenue. Cup holders, that's it. So least amount of effort, most amount of pain. So when you think about the Department of Defense, imagine disrupting the supply of Rippets to Army Rangers. They're going to have a lot of angry Rangers downrange, or food or munitions or whatever else you need to go off and do. So I think you've got the cyber resilience of the equipment on the battlefield, and then the cyber resilience of your supply chain, especially where you see just-in-time logistics and lean manufacturing.
All right, regarding your comment, it will get worse before it gets better. Is that a definite, or are there things that people can do to mitigate or eliminate that worse and get to the better?
I think that the adversary will adopt AI-based cyber operations faster than the defenders can improve their effectiveness, unfortunately.
Does that go both ways, us and them?
On both sides.
Yeah.
And so, but the difference is we have a far more digitally connected ecosystem than the adversaries do, with, say, the exception of China. And so I think what we're going to see is an adoption of AI-based cyber operations, ineffective tools, decisions per minute being like the X factor between the offense and defense. And then you're going to see this, hopefully, a big rally of the ecosystem to start to shore up our defenses to meet this new threat. Let's hope it plays out that way. But I think the adoption of AI-based cyber attacks will come far faster and earlier than improving the effectiveness of all the defensive tools and processes we have in place.
So a lot of the conversation has revolved around, do we have fast enough computing? Do we have fast enough storage? And those kinds of technological questions. And it sounds like what you're telling me is you expect this to be more of a strategic and technique competition than who's got the most powerful stuff.
It comes down to decisions per second. And when we have a lot of entrenched processes on the defensive side that have the human at the center and a lot of decision-making checks and balances along the way. And so as a result, a defender can only make a few decisions a minute. And so in classic warfare, the adversary that can make better decisions faster wins. And so if we can make better decisions faster in AI-based cyber, the human becomes a bottleneck, the process becomes a bottleneck. So it's not a bits and bytes hardware conversation. It is a human-centric processes set of problems we've got to go clean up.
Snehal, thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You can read more about the AI journey ahead for the Defense Department and find a link to the responsible AI strategy at fedgovtoday.com.